Good morning, Softball America. Happy Wednesday, August 20th. We're back for another edition of the Softball Rule Book Club and many, many more things that we will discuss. Glad that you're here this morning along with us.
I can't hear you.
Oh no, Tara can't hear me. That's unfortunate. So what we're going to do is have Tara pop off. There we go. And I will host solo for just a moment because we've got a lot that we're going to talk about here on Good Morning Softball America. Tara heard me a minute ago. I don't know what happened, but such is the technological age we live in. We're going to be discussing strike zones today and hopefully discussing it with each other if Tara can hear me. Hi, Tara.
Hi. Yes, I can. Right when you pressed the, press to get going, it just went silent. And I was hoping that it would come back, but it didn't. So good morning, everybody. Sorry for our technical difficulties. My whole back end is so. We'll just let you run with it, Gray. But good morning, everybody. Let us know where you're tuning in from.
Yeah, open up a chat. We've already got people asking about tap dancing. So,
I can't
Tara?
see the chat. Kind of bummed, but yeah, I'm gonna lean on you. I can't see the chat.
Here, I got you. Can you see it now?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Cool.
There we go. We got Nick Tarina asking about tap dancing. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Nicholas. Tap dancing has to happen. We just have to have a challenge first.
Well, Grant Gray assumes I'm going to be tap dancing following Alabama, Florida State on August 30th, which, okay. You know what they say about assuming. Anyway, we've got a lot to cover. We're going to talk about strike zones today. That'll be a little bit later when we get into the Rule Book Club. We're going to start, Tara, talking about a lot of different things. The rules changes did come. We've got a new NCAA Tournament seeding format. We had some big international stuff. AUSL continues to rock on with the All-Star Cup. We're going to discuss that in the next 30, 45 minutes, perhaps an hour. But first... Tara, what do the people need to do if they're tuning in on the YouTube?
You even forgot we dropped the 2027 rankings on Monday.
And
Brady asked the people what they thought. So again, we had a little bit of fun conversation with that. But if you are over on X, head on over to YouTube so we can chat over there. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you like it. And please comment again as to where you're tuning in from and let us know where you're at around the world and what's going on with you on this Wednesday in August. It's almost the end of August, Gray. And we have tons to talk about.
It's crazy. Yeah, like you said, a couple programming reminders, because I did want to say this off the top. Go check out the 2027 rankings that have been put together. They've been out there. A lot of people have been retweeting it and reading it, and we love that. Let's keep the numbers going. Out of the box is back. The dirt is coming back very soon. So a lot of things are happening as the fall sports get underway.
I love it. And again, I have a couple reminders on my notes, which Gray doesn't have these, but I'm going to put them out there. For the 2027 rankings and any rankings that go out, I'm going to give us a ranking schedule here in a bit. But just a reminder that list is fluid, and that's the top 100. And when I say top 100, it's actually 100 players. There are no four-way ties for fourth or
what?
Six-way ties for 20th. So it is legitimately 100 players. And I also want to remind players that are not on that list, that doesn't mean you're not going to get a call on September 1st. This is literally 20, this is on average of the best at right now. And a lot of different players are on very different journeys, and there are programs that are looking for different things. So again, when you take a look at this list, and to be honest with most people, everybody's list is different in terms of college coaches and what they're looking for and what they're looking at. And so depending on what those need, 150 players. Now we're up to 150 players. The first list is 100, but there is 150, but they're also actually ranked 1 through 50. So thank you, Brady, for that. But again, I want to remind players that just because you're not on that list or your name isn't where you think it should be, at the end of the day, what matters is what you do between the light lines, and how you carry yourself and how you handle adversity. And that's what college coaches are looking for. They're looking for talent, but they're looking for those tools as well. So I just wanted to do a little PSA there to make sure that athletes understand what rankings are.
It'll be easier for me as a broadcaster because I won't have, like, I can't tell you, I can't remember what weekend it was, but I was doing research and like 8 people were tied for 5th, and it just, a straight ranking, nice and easy. It's all right there. I appreciate it. I'm sure the coaches appreciate it. And you're exactly right as well. If you're not on the list now, who's to say, hey, you can't be on the list? And also a lot of other things that you can do to help your recruiting aspect. A lot of things you can do, a lot of things that, and not just between the white lines, but also the way you act on social media and the way that you treat people around these games and the way that you talk to people, all things that coaches are going to take into account. So really, really excited to see that list come out. It was fun to see some names that I got to broadcast at the Alliance games a couple weeks ago up in Indiana on that list. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for everybody in a mere 11 days.
Wow. 11 days?
11, 12.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yes. And again, on those rankings, I'll give a schedule. I've got it right here, but we will be making sure that we give the people a schedule so you understand. We will be ranking the 2026 class. We will have a 2028 watch list. We will do a final ranking for the 2025s. And just, this is an opportunity for us to highlight those that had great performances and have tools and have developed and have the makeups of a great, not only softball player, but all around person. So again, those rankings will be hitting pretty soon here. We'll have a schedule out with the graphic, but again, it's also a place where the only place that does 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars. So if you haven't gone over to the site, I encourage you to go and check it out. You can sort by state, you can sort by position, and let us know what you think. Because again, we're also here for each and every one of you. So however we can get better, we're always up for constructive criticism.
And if I may add, now that On3 has officially joined forces with Rivals, which was like the recruiting database for football and basketball as well, like this is the place to go. So check it out. Phil, I see you up in here. It's on the Softball America website. You just go
Brady can put the link in on here in the chat because he's on the keyboards, and Gray and I are talking.
Yeah, that works too. The Softball America website, recruiting rankings is a tab. It's right there. You can just drop down and go to wherever you want on there. Team rankings, player rankings, all the years,
Yeah, it's all great. It's all up there. When I put on here, you guys complain that my typing is too loud. So if Grady doesn't get it to you in the next 10 seconds, then I'll mute my mic and I'll pull it for you.
I can do it too because I'm unhooked from the laptop. So we'll see.
Rankings. There we go. Rankings.
Brady, the countdown is on. All right. Where do you want to go? Tara, do you want to talk about the World Games first? Do you want to talk about 1 through 32? Do you want to talk about the official prop announcement and all the rules changes that we talked about last week with Marty?
Hey, I mean, let's start with the World Games. I think it was a big deal. I think USA winning the gold and beating Japan, I think it was huge for USA softball and huge for the World Games. So let's start there.
Nick. not doing that. Yeah, so it was a really, really cool moment for Team USA to finally get that monkey off their back, because I feel like it's been so hard to beat Japan the last few years. I think I texted Jen, like, we joked about Texas having an OU problem. USA might have a Japan problem. And then they found a little bit of that magic. Coach Gasso put him in the right position, and Janae Jefferson continues to be the World Games killer. World Games 2022, she had the bases clearing 3 RBI double in the second inning in a 3-2 win over Japan. And then against Japan in the semis this year, she had a 4-for-5 game and hit number 4, tied the game in extras. So Janae Jefferson continues to really shine for Team USA. Pitching was good. Kelly Maxwell threw some really, really big innings in relief against Japan. And then Chinese Taipei, Team USA had already cooked them once, and they did it yet again to get the gold medal. It was very impressive to see the United States be able to combat such tough competition, especially in that Japan game.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about Terry Jennings? That was clutch. The walk-off win to beat Japan. And like you said, I think is a little bit of getting that monkey off their back. And when the bases clearing triple or double happened and Japan took the lead, I think it was more of oh, here we go again.
Right.
And how were they going to respond? And for me, I think all those things that you just mentioned, and having Patty Gasso at the helm and all the work that squad had put in up to that point, I think that was a huge reason. And there was a ton of belief, and you can see when a team is playing with belief. And I truly believe that group of women had a ton of belief, and they weren't going to be denied. And to stay up to the early hours of the morning, I think it was 1:30 or 1:45 on the East Coast, and to see Terry Jennings come up clutch. There were some interesting plays in that game, too. There was a questionable call at second that went Japan's way. There was a ball that dropped in between the shortstop and the left fielder in Japan, I think gave the U.S. some momentum. There was that weird hard comebacker to Kelly Maxwell that she just automatically threw to Deja, and it was spiked, but Deja picks it up, gets the out at third. So there was a lot of things that had to go right. And again, when you put in the work as a team and a squad, and there's a ton of that belief, those things start rolling your way. And I can't say enough about Coach Gasso and her first stint at the helm for Team USA. And that's a good sign. And I think you're seeing a lot of belief from those players. They're posting about it. They're happy to bring that gold back to USA softball. And again, I got to get my hats off to Chinese Taipei. That was big for that program. A lot of you don't know, like that was a big spot for Chinese Taipei to get that silver medal. Japan ultimately getting the bronze there in the end, but that's shaking up some international softball a little bit. And my heart is near and dear to international softball, so just a joy to watch those games. And congratulations to Team USA.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on what you said about Chinese Taipei, because when Caleb Rowe and I were doing the 2022 World Games, we got to talk to the folks from Chinese Taipei and hear how much it meant to them to even be in the bronze medal game. Yeah. And so to get the opportunity to be in the gold medal match, really, really special. They've got some talent, and they're going to be continuing to get better and better. They're getting better and better each and every year. So a lot of credit to Chinese Taipei. The chat has pretty much said a lot of the things I would add. I did think Japan played it right, walking Jada Coleman and getting to Tiari. Tiari had not played all that well the last couple at-bats against Goto, and she was able to take advantage of an 0-2 mistake, which is what you got to do. It was exactly the way that Tiari has burned multiple people over the years from her Oklahoma playing days. And yeah, bunting is hard now, I guess.
Let me tell you, I can tell you that the U.S. is going to know how to bunt here, and don't worry, Coach Gass is going to take care of that. It's just not done, even at the lower levels. And we'll get into some travel youth ball talk, but it's just not done as much anymore. There's not an emphasis on bunting. I see it, and it's not something that is practiced until you need it. And it's so interesting because we see it in the World Series. We saw it at the World Games. It is happening in high pressure situations, and yet it's pushed aside on a weekday game or matchup, a midweek matchup, or in travel ball when it's just a friendly. It's pushed aside because everybody wants to work on their hitting, but then you get to the biggest stage. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll be fine there here.
Yeah, too. Just a thing to continue to work on before 2028, which is actually not that far, which is kind of crazy. I also want to shout out Skylar Wallace. Here's yes. Skylar's line from the week. She was 3 for 15. That's a 200 batting average. Now, Skylar, I'm sure she wanted to hit better than that. But let's talk about the 3 hits. All were home runs. She drove in 8 to lead the team. She was second on the team in total bases. Her OBP was 250. She got hit by a pitch. And yeah, Skylar probably did not have the most overall productive week that she would have wanted. But man, oh man, when she produced, those hits were huge, especially that home run against Japan. That was kind of, when I was watching it, that was kind of where I thought, oh, you know what? Maybe they will figure this out and find a way to win. And Skylar just kept coming up with the big hits over and over. All 3 times they were just massive, massive home runs that helped out Team USA.
Oh, absolutely. And when you take a look at that lineup, I know you just rattled off Skylar's stat line, and those are big time impactful at bats. And that's why when you're taking a look at stats, sometimes they don't tell the entire story, because those, you would argue, have way more weight than a higher batting average. But I think what was really interesting from my perspective is to see how Coach Gasso moved her lineup around, and to see when the U.S. played Japan, she brought Hannah Flippen over to first and had Warren and Terry Jennings and Jefferson in the infield. So that tells you that she believes that infield is the best defenders. And then you take a look at the outfield. She changed the outfield a little bit. Bubble Nicholas got some time, Amanda Lorenz, Maya Brady, Skylar Wallace. So there was a lot of movement throughout the tournament. And we didn't even talk about Savannah Jaquish and her home run in the final. But that's what tells you it's a little bit different to see how many different lineups, and you're going against matchups as well. So why I think that coaching staff is going to be so great for the U.S. is they're going against pitching matchups, and whose swing path is a better shot against Goto or Ueno, and I think that was really interesting to see how that coaching staff, along with Jen Rocha and JT Gasso and Kelly Kretschmann and John Bartfelt was there as well, how they managed those lineups. So I think, again, you're seeing a little bit of a different strategy from Team USA.
Anything else you want to say about any of the other teams? We talked about USA, Chinese Taipei, Japan. Those are your 3 medalists. Yep. Canada had a moment and then kind of just lost it in the medal round. And not the week, I'm sure, that Puerto Rico and Australia were hoping to have as well.
Yeah, I think when you take a look at these formats, I've been on both sides of those. Sometimes the way the format is put together for these tournaments is different. You can have a great opening round, and then, like you said, Canada beats Japan, and then has a tough loss to Chinese Taipei, and then loses to Japan in a run rule. So rough go for Canada, but saw some glimmers of hope there. And Fang just mentioned it, Reimer. I think her down ball, she did a really nice job against Japan and was able to get Japan to roll over a ton of balls. And so a lot of ground balls, and really, really was effective. I think she gave up 1 hit against Japan. And so again, for Canada, and also, and while we're on international news, really exciting, Australia is going to host the 2027 World Cup Finals, and that's huge because that tells you that the IOC is taking a look at softball staying in the Olympics for Brisbane in 2032. So this is big for our sport, and each and every one of you that's on here that is engaging and supports softball and the various international federations and what we've been able to do as a collective group to shine a spotlight on our sport, it's working. So what I'm going to say to each and every one of you is to keep doing it, because them deciding to have Australia host in 2027, that's a really, really good sign that we're hopefully going to have Olympics or softball in the Olympics in 2032. It's not for sure, but 2032. I got you my numbers, but again, for the future of our sport, it's a really huge deal that Australia will be hosting the World Cup final in 2027.
My eyes got big because Brady said Baylor will be almost 10 in 2032. Like, oh. Yeah, it was a great event. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the fact that I got to watch some of it, which was nice. I wasn't sure if I would be able to, but good amount of the games and all the medal games, as far as I could tell, were available to be streamed, at least all the ones that involved Team USA. So that was nice. And again, we'll see how things continue to develop. But gold for Team USA. Congratulations. Patty Gasso's won it again, done her thing. And now we'll see what this team looks like the next time they all reconvene at the international stage. Okay. We got two options. We have 1 through 32. We have the prop rule changes. Let's go with 1 through 32.
Let's do it.
Okay. So we're almost there, guys.
Yeah, me like, what?
We're almost there. We're trying, we hope one day that the NCAA tournament will seed everyone 1 through 64. Just do it right. But I fully acknowledge that it takes a minute to actually make changes in this sport and in the NCAA as a whole. So I will take this. The NCAA tournament now going to be seeded 1 through 32, sort of. Brady's got a great article on the site that helps explain it. There are buckets. So basically the 1 through 4 national seed, 29 through 32 will go to some assortment of 1 through 4 and on down the list. Brady's even got what that might have looked like this past year on the site as well. And Tara, the reason this is a big deal is because it helps protect against teams that are like the 7 through 10 seed having super easy breezy regionals solely because of geography. This will get a little bit more evenness to the competition in the NCAA tournament. I can't wait to see what it looks like once we get to that point in 2026.
Yes, I don't know why buckets makes me laugh, but every time they say that they're gonna, the seeds are gonna be in buckets, it makes sense though. So for example, teams that are 17 through 20 would be grouped in one bucket, right? 17, 18, 19, and 20. And those 4 teams would be distributed amongst 13 through 16 seeds.
Correct.
So it's in the bucket. So it's not going to be, exact, but those 4 will go within those 13 through 16. So hopefully that makes sense. It's not like 1 through 32 and that's how it's seeded, 1 and 32. I think there was a little bit of confusion there with some stuff that was put out, but it's buckets of the seeding. But I think this is important. And like you said, Brady put up a great article on the website that would kind of tell you what it would look like had we had this bucket system a season ago.
I'm chuckling with you, Nick. I understand. And look, I'm glad that this is happening because we can get over when Tom and I sit here in this room and do the bracket reaction show on the pod. We'll get to like the 9 seed and be like, how did they get this 2 seed? That's the weakest 2 seed in the field. How did the 11 seed get one of the presumed first 4 in or last 4 in? Like, how did that happen? So this kind of takes the geography out of it a little bit. And also they've got the bucket system to help ensure that conference teams aren't matched up together, which is why it's not a straight 1 through 32. But I think that this will help. And it's the first step towards getting everybody seeded 1 through 64 like we want. Let's give these teams that are the 4 seeds the true experience of getting to go somewhere they don't get to go in the regular season. But we were talking about it when we recorded last night. Like, why is Bethune-Cookman always going to Tallahassee or Gainesville? Let's send them somewhere they haven't been. Let's send some of these schools places they don't get to go in the regular season. Eventually, we'll get there, but this is a good start.
I think so too. And, it's a good start. And that shows you that they're listening and they understand that it's not perfect and it's not right, but this is a step in the right direction. And they're already doing it in volleyball and soccer. So there is a formula out there. And I'm glad that we're bringing it over to softball because it's going to make it better. I mean, you take a look at the mock draft again, it's on the website that Brady put together, but Texas A&M would have faced Arizona State. So it would have been the 1 and the 32 there. So a little bit different. And Liberty would have gone to number 7, Tennessee, potentially. So
I'll just ask this because I've got Brady's up as well. Which of the matchups do you wish we would have gotten this year if we were doing the bucketing system and it worked out like Brady said?
Well, if you guys go over on the site, you can take a look at what Gray and I are looking at. I think Alabama, Oklahoma State.
We saw it in Clearwater. It was a tight game.
Yeah. Yeah, in Clemson, Nebraska, if those are potential matchups. Yeah,
I would have. Sorry to Nick. I would have specifically shouted out LSU, Ohio State.
Ooh,
that would have been very interesting because
10-23.
That would have been interesting because ball does not necessarily fly historically at Tiger Stadium. Ohio State, a lot of home runs on that roster. How would that matchup have gone? Who's to say? A&M versus ASU. It would have been fun to see Kinsey Brown throw in that scenario against the Aggies. Yeah. I think A&M gets out of that, but you never know. Tennessee versus Liberty is what Cheyenne says. Yes, lock me in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Duke Ole Miss. Now that we know what we know about Ole Miss, that would have been tight.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see, they would have.
Oh yeah, Oregon. Lindsey Grant against her former school. That would have been spicy.
And just to even go further, imagine, again, hypothetical, imagine Ole Miss takes down Duke and then their supers opponent is Florida and Gainesville. That's fun. All things that could have happened but didn't, but might in the future. So, yeah, that's an exciting change in a week of changes because, as we teased with Marty last week, we were waiting. Will Prop do all the things we think it'll do? And yeah, it kind of did. It kind of did. So the obstruction language is official. We've got a double base, double first base. You get to keep your challenge. A lot of other things. They did not change out of the box, so that rule remains the same as it has been the last couple seasons. They added a couple things to video review. I kind of think all these changes are good, and the one thing I had a question about, they didn't adjust. So I'm pretty good with this list.
Same. I agree. I feel like they really got after it this year in the rules change year. And we discussed almost every single thing on the list before we even went out. So maybe we need to do that every rules change year.
Cheyenne. Coaches actually changing the things they complain about. You love to see it. Yeah, I think the replay thing is a big one. That I want to see how that impacts pace of play. Do we have a scenario where somebody just nails all the challenges and they have like 5 in a game? Does that slow things down? I hope it doesn't. But I think that it's good that you get those challenges back. We talked about that a few weeks ago. It kind of gives you that buffer if you have to burn a challenge on an obviously blown call early in a game. So yeah, I'm excited about all these, and I'll have a new sheet printed out for the broadcast booth. Can't wait. We'll have an update to Appendix G in the rule book. I'm gonna have to buy a new rule book soon, so that's fun.
I know. I was wondering when the new rule book's going to come out. We got to get those out and distributed to everybody. We should talk to them, and maybe we can get a discount code for those that
just free shipping and handling is really all I need. That's half the battle, quite literally. Yeah, let's do it. So it's time to get into the Rule Book Club, episode 4, Strike Zones.
Wow.
So we've done Appendix G. We've done Out of the Box. We've done Obstruction. Thank you again to Marty for joining us last week. Now we've got Strike Zones. We're going to read from page 93 and then show the diagram in a minute as well from, I believe, 108 and 109. But Tara, I want to ask you, as a media person, as a player, and also as a coach of international ball, as the balloons fly, what is your relationship with the concept of a strike zone?
My relationship?
Yes, because I know it's different at different levels, and you're
different internationally too. Let's say, as a coach, I think if it's consistent, I'm okay with it. I know it can be a bigger zone or a smaller zone, but if it's consistent and on both sides, I'm totally fine with it. Again, we're going to get into the crux of the strike zone and how it is defined and what it actually is, because I think there's some common misconceptions about the strike zone. So I will say I was just also never a hitter that I didn't really walk very much because I just never wanted to put the decision in another person's hand. So I was more about kind of fouling the ball off until could get a pretty good strike to hit if I had to. So just never wanted to put it in another person's hand because you just don't really know what the strike zone's going to be. But a consistent zone and a zone that is fair on both sides.
Yeah, zones. So this is a thing that we all talk about when we watch games. I feel like it's the easiest thing to nitpick because it's the thing that you see the most, you know? And it's also the most subjective thing, for sure, about this game. And what makes it hard is every umpire kind of has their own... You can kind of see what the zone is early, and then the hope is that it stays consistent throughout the game. There is a rule book proper strike zone, but every umpire kind of views things a little bit different. They might give a little bit more here. They might not a little bit more here. They might, see high. Their positioning might be a little bit off, and they might see an outside pitch as right on the edge or something like that. So that's all things that we see. And the other tough part is when you're watching on TV, Amanda's brought this up a lot in the AUSL games, because the camera's a little off center, it might look like a strike on camera. And if you're in person and you're right behind the zone, it's quite clearly not a strike. So that's also something that can hurt this discussion a little bit sometimes, just because if you had the camera straight up center, you would never see a pitch because the pitcher would be blocking it. You've got to have it a little off center out in that center field slot. And sometimes, especially outside to righties, as I imagine what a TV looks like in my head, that part and inside as well, the edges really can be tough to view as a viewer.
Yes. Also, it depends on where the camera well is, and that's why it's so important when programs are building their stadiums that they have that conversation with the higher ups on production to make sure that the camera wells are in a good spot, just not only for the fans' viewing experience, but obviously for making sure that there's review capabilities. And I know we have other systems as well, but again, it is a little bit off-centered, so you can remember it is a little bit off-centered. But I would really like to go into the language and talk about. We put up a question on the account, is the strike zone 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional? And I'll let everybody in the chat answer this if they would like to, because we do have the chat up. So you can answer it. We are going to go to the slide to take a look at the strike zone. But my question to each and every one of you, is it 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional?
I know the answer. I do. I've had this told to me because I had strike zone questions.
Well, we're going to go into it. And also, I want to remind, when we get to this, but I want to remind people that sometimes the umpire is blamed, but also how a catcher receives the ball as well can impact what obviously an umpire calls, and can impact what a fan or a coach would think is a ball or a strike. So that's an important part to this, because it's not where the catcher receives the ball.
Brady,
and I know
serious.
that Gray has the language.
Come on now.
Go ahead.
No one's going to answer the question, guys. All right, let's go to page 93 in the rule book.
You can take the.
I'll give them 10 more seconds. You know, sometimes it takes a minute. I don't know. People might be watching on delay.
Oh,
yeah. I'll give them a minute.
See, we're just waiting for Fang. All right. Privileges are back on.
This is page 93, rule 11.3, balls and strikes, 11.3.1. Come on, Grant. Whatever helps FSU. Okay, strike zone. The zone is the area above home plate between the bottom of the batter's sternum, so like here, yeah, and the top of their knees when they assume their natural batting stance. The top of the ball must be on or within the horizontal plane, and either the side of the ball must be on or within the vertical plane of a strike zone to be a strike, unless the ball touches the ground before reaching home plate. Now, here's the important part. 11.3.1.1. The pitch shall be judged to be a strike or a ball as it crosses home plate, not where it is caught by the catcher, and in relation to the batter's natural position as the pitch crosses home plate, Tara.
Yes. So the answer is 3-dimensional. The strike zone is 3-dimensional. So it's not where the catcher receives the ball, although obviously if a catcher has better framing capabilities or the illusion and can get more strikes, that will help your team out. So we are going to put up a diagram, because we were told that some people are visual learners, which I get, and because I am one of those. So here is what is in the rule book.
Yes, this is pages 108 and 109 if you've got your rule book out.
Yeah, 17 inches. The plate is 17 inches across, and a ball is 3.82 inches. So when it's 3-dimensional, I want everybody to picture the plate as an actual cube, like as an actual 3-dimensional area that starts at the top of the ball at the knees, right here on the right-hand side, and all the way up to the sternum. So when you take a look at the strike zone, the ball can hit any part of that cube. And it doesn't matter if it hits the front part of the plate or the back part of the plate. Any piece of that ball that hits that cube, the cube from the top of the knees all the way up to the sternum. So that ball, let's say you have a rise ball and it nips the front part of that 17-inch plate right on the outer half, and then it comes out of the zone at the back of the plate, it still hit that cube. Does that make sense? So let's have that huge cube, and if any part of the ball is able to get into that strike zone, it is a strike. Does that make sense?
100%. And I had a quip, and I'm not going to say it, but that does make sense. And yeah, I mean, it actually, shows that the zone is a little bit bigger than I think we all think it is because of that three-dimensional aspect. Because if it hits any part of that cube, it should be a strike. There are some times where it's not necessarily called like that, but this is the way that it was designed. So this is what's in the rule book. This is a proper strike zone, and you can also see a little bit like you can see the softball diagram on the diagram itself that showcases the quote unquote river. In the river, not a strike, but if it clips that edge at all of that three-dimensional box as it's going by inside or outside, that is a strike. But river itself, not a strike. So
correct. So 6 inches there when between the edge of the plate and the batter's box. But the ball is 3.82 inches. So again, if you can live there, it's a good thing in that river.
I got it.
I don't know how to take the graphic.
There we go.
Yeah. So again, let's say it's a ball that hits let's say it's a curve ball that clips, that has a late break, that is on the inner half and it clips in, or it's on the outer half and it's sitting there and clips one side of the plate, but then the curve ball looks like the catcher is receiving it really in the river. That's still technically a strike. Same thing with a screwball that clips on the outer half, or rise ball or drop ball. So again, when we look at the strike zone, it's a three-dimensional zone, which I think sometimes even the coaches, and myself included, forget. But let's say you put in an actual diagram of the plate in the zone and it's sitting there. Like even when we have on TV just the box,
right?
That's two-dimensional. What would be really cool is if they could actually put in a 3D plate that went from the knees to the sternum, so you could see where that ball is actually clipping that part of the cube.
Yeah, I've seen something similar to that pop up on, I think, Sunday Night Baseball. So I've started using that with some of the ESPN baseball broadcasts. I would love to see more of that for us. That would be a fun tool for us to have in the booth. But yeah, so this is an interesting part as well that Cheyenne just commented, because I want to talk about this. Too many people take where the ball is caught, and that's not where the ball passes. That, I think, is the thing that gets fans all riled up, is they see where the pitch finishes, right? And whether you're in the stands or you're on TV, that's what, that's where they think the zone is being dictated by. And that's not correct. That's why a lot of change-ups that finish in the zone are called balls, because oftentimes they come over the zone high and then drop in, and that's where the catcher catches them. Like I saw a ton this year at Rhodes where when that specific type of pitch was thrown, it was called a ball, and the fans were like, "What do you mean? Look at where Marley caught it." No, it's because the pitch came across the zone high and then was caught here. That's why it was a ball.
Yeah, it also depends on where the batter is in the box, if you think about that, right? That is a thing that the umpires, it's like a little deception. It is on the plate, but sometimes where the batter is in the box, that also makes it difficult to understand where it actually is crossing that cube plate. And again, where the catcher catches the ball, if they're able to get more strikes. But really interesting to just break it down and have those diagrams. And I hope that this stuff is helpful for you guys. And even for us, for Gray and I, it makes us better at what we do, to actually go in and break it down and have a really better understanding of what the umpires are saying. And listen, we know that we can harp on the umpires, but if anybody was to watch last week, they're doing their best to make sure that this experience is good for the athletes. And you're not going to always agree with them, but again, it's not a perfect science. But understanding how they're able to enforce the rule book is also really important for us.
Now, the other aspect of this is the discussion about whether we should change this part, whether we should change the diagram. Should, Tara, we make the strike zones a little bit bigger? Because one of the things I've seen a lot of people discuss is, well, with the zone the way it is, offenses are too good that especially if the zone shrinks a little bit, that we're going to either get a ton of walks or fatties over the middle that are pumped out of the yard. And there have been, quandaries about what would happen if we expanded the strike zone. Is that something closer to an international zone? Maybe not all the way there, but a little closer. What do you think about that?
Yeah, did you see those balls that Hannah Flippin was having to fill off on the outer half after getting called like in the other box? Yeah, the international zone is a lot larger, but I think that we're going to have to get to that just because of bat technology, because of the ability to scout how much information and data there is out on various pitchers. I think we do need to consider looking at the zone and what that looks like. And again, it's also how it's called. And I'm cracking up, James, that we're defending the umpires. I think that you should be an umpire, James. I recommend people to go to umpiring school and that we get more umpires. Like, that's always my thing. Like, if you're going to complain about the umpire, you should go be one for a day. It's not an easy task, but when we look at the strike zone, I do think, Gray, we need to have it be a little bit bigger because it's tough for pitchers right now. Again, with all the data and all the technology, it's tough when you have to throw the ball right down the middle, and it's honestly quite dangerous when you start seeing ball off the bat and how many miles per hour these athletes were bigger, stronger, faster, are hitting the ball with this technology. It's also a safety thing. I'm not going to harp on safety because people are like, oh, how dare you talk about that? But it is. It's a real issue. Ball off the bat there. It's getting to some pretty dangerous levels.
Again, the only way that we can do that, umpires can make a concerted effort to call a little bit wider, bigger of a zone if they want. But like to kind of make that happen, we got to change this part. And the moment has passed to do that this year. So at best, we do that in summer of 27. So maybe we'll see more discussion of that brought up in the future. But it's something that I've been thinking about a lot. I felt like this year, I see James's comment. I was not always defending the umpires on the air this year. Let me just tell you, I felt like this year was a tough strike zone year. I felt like there were a lot of games that I called, that I watched in person, that I saw on TV, where in real time I'm thinking, oh boy, this the zone ain't it. And I would go back, and there are also, again, the TV angle thing is a real thing, because I've questioned a strike call and then had an angle from up top high home show where the pitch was actually located, and I was like, well, shoot, I've been bamboozled. But that will, I think, continue to be a discussion in the sport, because I felt like this year, Tara, I don't know about you, I felt like we were talking more about strike zones than we ever had before in 2025.
Yeah, we were. I think we spoke a lot about the strike zone. And again, that's why it was really important for us to actually sit down and talk about what the umpires are looking at and what the strike zone actually is. And it is the sternum to the knees. And well, thank you, James, for your service if you were an umpire. I think that's great. But we've got to take a look at it because it is very different in the international game. And I think to widen that zone and make it a little bit bigger, it's just gonna be better.
Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, questions.
Ooh, thank you, Cheyenne. I don't know which part you agree with, but thank you.
I think the bird's eye view too of you talking to.
I was like, oh shoot, I felt foolish.
Even that. Like hitters too, and taking a look at open stances or closed stances and how a hitter or person moves, and obviously taking a look at that bird's eye view, I think it's really interesting.
Interesting. I'm reading Haley's comment.
What is it?
Yeah, I would recommend umpires if you feel like you're having a bad day. Probably don't broadcast that.
At least
sure,
off days,
but maybe a bad call, be like, well, hey, I missed that, I'm sorry. But like a bad zone, be like, you know what, my zone's been bad today. Thanks for not being annoyed. It's like, what? I would be very upset. But umpire said that to me.
What do you think about having what do you think if taking an umpire or human decision out of
No.
it and having it be electronic?
No. I look.
No.
Those that know me know that I am Cheyenne. Watch out. Know that I am very much a traditionalist. I do the same things. Look at the board. I mean, come on. I am very much a creature of what's the word that I'm supposed to? Yes, creature of habit. Thank you. That's tough that I forgot the word habit. I don't want that part of softball to be taken out. Why? Like it. Look, bad calls are going to happen, but that's kind of part of the life lessons that you get from all sports is how to react to stuff like that. If we have robot umps, if we have a sign.
There's nobody to yell at.
Like, imagine if someone just throws a pitch, the catcher catches it, and there's like a box behind home plate that either has like a green check or a red X. You can decide which means which. That doesn't, it feels too clinical. It doesn't feel like the gritty sport that we love. And I understand that, we want the calls to be right, and they're not all going to be right. That's humanly impossible. But like, I would rather have that human element than the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we can use a little bit of both. I think having more consistent reporting and ability for umpires to get better across the board would be a real good compromise. I agree with you. I love a good strikeout call and taking that out with a robot.
Well, but hey, now hold on. The All-Star game might have gotten this right when they had like.
Wait, that's dancing. Like, we gotta get a robot that can tap dance.
It won't be me. But the All-Star game, they had like that challenge system for balls and strikes, or like there were a couple that you could send up and overturn, and I'm cool with that too. If that's a safeguard that we want to have there or whatever. Also, fair point, Brady. Also, the evaluators have to be, because
this is what happens, everybody. Now that they have the chat up, this is what happens.
So now you know. Also, like real time evaluations would be great as well. I'm not gonna say where this happened, but over the summer, I saw a home plate umpire, be told by another umpire, "Hey, your zone's a little small. Expand it." Like that's I'm cool with like real time evaluation so that they know what. Now, if we're expanding the zone infinitely in the middle of a game, I'm not necessarily sure I love that. But if the umpires are being told by their counterparts, by the people in charge, what's going on and what maybe they need to do a little bit better, I'm cool with that too.
Yes. I mean, I think at the end of the day, everybody's trying to get better. I think the game is trying to get better, and the umpires just explaining what the rule book says. This is our main goal for the rule book club, is explaining to everybody what the rule book says and how it's being enforced. You might not agree with how the umpires are enforcing it, but at the end of the day, the rules are in the rule book for a reason. Can human beings get better? Absolutely. And that's why when you talk about having some sort of system, I think across the board, if the coaches are upset about the strike zone, that they should just pony up some dollars to make sure that the umpires are getting better. A little bit from each and every one of them. Or every time you complain on X or put something up, that should be like a fine. Like, you should be fined a certain amount of dollars, and it should go into the umpire education center, umpire education pot. And then they can get a real live, like you said, like whether it be when Marty talked about wearing communication and his third base umpire saying, "Hey, you're missing the ball at the bottom of the zone there," whether it be that, or whether they go through and have reports after every single game. So I I know it seems like we're defending the umpires, but I also want to say that there is a lot of work that goes into it, and there's a lot that they debrief after games, and so hopefully we can just get more qualified people that care as much as Marty does.
Couldn't
about
agree
the
more.
game.
Anything else, chat, that we should say?
Wow,
I know.
we're already here.
We've almost gone an hour. We've covered a lot.
Yeah.
Strike zones, other things. Anything else about the zone?
Yeah, what? No, I'm good. That was really good. I love that we had the diagram up there. And if you guys have any more questions, again, we'll reference this throughout the year as we begin watching games again all over the television. We can have a chat about the cube strike zone and what's happening and whether we think that it's being enforced properly.
What should we do? Should we do one more rule book club? People, what do you want us to do next for the rule book club?
I feel like we should do something. I don't know what. We'll leave it to the people, but we will do one next week.
Yeah, I mean,
we can go through things. Maybe we'll obscure rules that don't come up as much, but that we've seen.
Weirdest rules, the weirdest rules episode.
Or maybe we can have the rules head of the rules committee, Vicky, come on here. That'd be awesome. Oh, I'll send her an email. We'll see if we can get Vicky Van Kleck on here. Be awesome.
TARP. What if we just read the chapter on TARP?
Oh, you can see who you. Most of the time, you can tell who actually has to take a tarp off and put it on pretty quickly because you can see the efficient teams and those that.
You know what's really interesting? We don't really talk about it. The misconduct chapter, the misconduct chapter has so many things that you're like, okay, that's interesting. And it lists all the ways that a person can get kicked out. And it's really funny.
Why don't we do that along with what else the people want? We'll do misconduct next week. How not
unlucky
to get
rule 13, misconduct, how to stay in the game.
Of course it's 13. I love it. We'll do misconduct. 13.
That's what we'll do. We're going to talk about misconduct. Thank you, Cheyenne. I love a good chapter. Yeah, this is the chapter of the book.
Here we go. Gray's
no, that means it's time to go. Yeah. Tara, what's on the site right now that the people should be reading?
One ACC freshman that you need to know, incoming freshman you need to know, that just went up. Again, the 2027 rankings are up on the site. Take a look at those. Let us know what you think. There'll be some recruiting spotlights heading up there as well. And again, any questions on the seeding 1 through 32, there's a good article up there as well, so you can take a look at that. And as always, let us know what you think. And appreciate you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. I know I said it at the beginning of this, but your participation, your love of the game, your ability to keep amplifying the game, we all have a part in that. And just, I want to thank you all for being here with us every week.
I want to show this. Shout out to Brady. The freshman articles are great. I've gotten to do a little early digging to help me with some of my early season prep because, yes, believe it or not, I am already compiling notes for the 2026 season that starts in 6 months. So thank you, Brady, for having that tool. You've still got way too early top 25 from me and Brady out there that is still being discussed on the internet somehow. But we thank you for your patronage. And also, yeah, go check out all the previous editions of this podcast. Go check out Out of the Box. Go check out The Dirt once that comes back. Go check out all the things that we're doing on the Softball America Podcast Network because plenty of things are happening and more will continue to ramp up as we get closer and closer to the end of the 2025 calendar year and the start of a 2026 softball season. Yeah. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Next week, misconduct. And one last thing. If you've got a funny ejection video that you really like online, send it over to me on Twitter. I just, Maybe we'll put it on. Who's to say? Yeah.
Oh my
We'll
goodness.
talk about it. I mean, what was it like a minor league baseball game years ago where the manager just went berserk and was kicking and throwing stuff and yeah.
Picked up the base through, right? Right.
I think
Is that
so.
the same one? Picked up the base, through the base, dirt everywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's misconduct, but we'll talk about that next week. Thank you for hanging out with us on Good Morning Softball America. The chat, y'all rocked it. We hope that you'll join us next week for a discussion on misconduct. For the great Tara Henry, I'm Gray Robertson saying so long. We'll see you next week on GMSA. Have a great morning, everybody.